We'll go ahead and call to order the Monday, November the 28th, 2011 Public Safety Committee to order. And I'll entertain a motion for the minutes of last month.
Mr. Chairman, move for their approval.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. First on the agenda tonight is the Emergency Management Agency report. I do believe it's in front of you. Is Mr. Hooker on?
It is. Good evening. I trust everybody had a good holiday. Nothing outstanding. Had a couple of hazardous materials calls which have been remediated successfully. A lot of planning activity going on at this point, and have been conducting some training activity as well, as you can see on the spreadsheet here. As far as the communications project goes, we're on the back burner a little bit. The building for the Tiger Hill Tower is slated to be delivered on Thursday, but we're going to be put a little bit back behind on getting it properly placed because of the weather and not being able to get gravel down where it's needed to be. So that's going to be put off for a little while so we can get that straightened out. But other than that, everything is on schedule.
How big a building is that building?
I'm not sure the exact specifics. It's similar to the one that I looked at the Williamson County site, which is approximately 15 by 20. 15 wide, 20 feet long, about that size.
Does anybody have any questions for Tim on the report?
Move to approve the report, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next is the drug court report.
I take good notes.
And let's see.
As you can see, our drug court population is a little bit low. We just had a graduation with 8 people, so we're a little low. And DUI is actually over capacity. The capacity for that program is 25, and we're a little bit over that. We're kind of putting everything on hold, at least until January, with the DUI program, because we lost one of our employees. Marcus Jameson was our DUI case manager, and he took unfortunately, a better paying position with CCA in Nashville. So we're just kind of scrambling right now to keep up, to put it lightly. We have hired an off-duty police officer to come in 6 hours a week and help us with male drug screens, since Marcus was the only male in our office, and we're not supposed to do observed male drug screens. Don't really want to do observed male drug screens. So this officer has been coming in, and that's been working out really good. And then I'm teaching one of the groups on Wednesday nights, and then 2 of the groups we just aren't offering right now because we don't have a lot of new people that would be taking those groups. I hope to meet with the mayor and Lisa Nolan this week, maybe, to see if there's enough money in my budget to hire either a part-time person or a full-time person for the rest of the year. We'll have to look at that and see. Because that grant got cut down in November, it went from $60,000 down to $20,000, so I kind of need to relook at my budget again. The alcohol and drug intervention program continues to do pretty well. As of tonight, we have $7,425 from the one DUI school that we did in the alcohol and drug intervention program, and that can even, as I was leaving tonight, she was getting phone calls and setting up intakes and stuff, so that continues to do good. Okay, not as well as we thought, but okay. And then we had 4 people graduate from our DUI program in October, for a total of 30 graduates from the DUI program. Our recidivism arrest rate for the DUI program remains at 0%, which is pretty amazing. So I see that program being extremely successful. Drug court graduation was on Thursday, November 10th, 8 graduates, so for a total of 167 graduates. So we've got, with both programs, we have almost 200 graduates. Kind of neat.
How old is the DUI court?
We're in our 11th year.
So,
Mhm.
so is that 30 graduates?
Since 2008. That program's only 3 years old, the DUI program.
Is that not what I asked? What did I ask?
Yeah, you said DUI, but see, the drug court is 11.
Yeah.
Okay, DUI is only
3.
3 years,
Mhm.
and that's 30 graduates.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anybody else have any questions?
You gotta ask the obvious one. If you give the recidivism rate for the DUI court, do you have a rough idea of what it is for the
DUI or drug?
DUI?
DUI is
zero, yeah.
Yeah.
But you gotta ask the other question then,
What?
for drug court.
Oh, drug court's about 22% overall. For,
That's a recidivism rate?
mhm,
Oh,
mhm.
so-
Have you had any people
Recidivism.
on the synthetic drugs? I know that's
Oh my
become
God, are you kidding me?
that's becoming so popular. I know
Oh,
I go
yeah.
on calls at least one a week, going where somebody's gone crazy on them. I didn't know if you've had any of those people come into drug court, or what would that be under?
I have had, well, that's a good question.
Or is it-
Everybody that I've interviewed for drug court lately, I've asked them that question, are you using synthetics? And I only had one person tell me no, that they're
Wow.
not using them. So,
Well, I know the sheriff's done a good job getting that stuff off the streets.
yeah.
So
We actually had a seminar, I guess you would call it. Greg Flanagan, Detective Flanagan from MPD, and then Trey King from the State Attorney General's office came and did a presentation to our staff and some people that we invited. And it was the same presentation that was given over at Patterson Park like a couple of weeks before that. And I mean, it is just awful. It's just awful. From that raid that they did in Murfreesboro, they identified 200 different types of synthetics. They each had little, one little atom that was different, and they hadn't even finished with all of it yet that they confiscated. And unfortunately, in Tennessee, it's still a misdemeanor, so there isn't a whole lot they can do. But while they were giving us our seminar, they said that the guy that's making the bath salts lives 600 yards from the drug court, and there isn't anything they can do about it because it's not a crime, I guess. But I was reading an email, not an email, but it's a little alert that I get on other drug courts and drug happenings in the country, and Michigan is having a really, really, really bad time with theirs as well. But they have made it a felony to produce, manufacture, sell, what have you, and they're enforcing it. So I think that's what Tennessee needs to do. I think it needs
well, we
to
need
go
to
the
push our
way
local
they're going.
delegation to, because that's huge here with the college.
It's horrible. It's horrible. I mean,
Well,
the
I
things
think-
it does.
I think
to
something
people.
that this committee can do, this committee can send a recommendation to the steering committee to ask our state delegation here to look at that avenue.
I'll make a motion for that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor to ask our state representative and senators here in Rutherford County to sponsor a bill to make that types of drugs felonies.
And I mean, if they need to look at the Michigan bill to see how to write it, they can do that. There may be other states, but Michigan's the first one I've heard of that's gone with the felonies.
Mary,
so.
why don't you go along with this request if they accept it and meet with them? That way you
Sure.
can explain it in depth a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I mean, Representative Sparks knows what's going on. He's been trying to keep on top of it. And I think he's met with Detective Flanagan and Mr. King from the Attorney General's office as well. And the other good thing about this seminar is that Detective Flanagan and Trey King have agreed to be on my board now for my support foundation. So that was a real big plus for me anyway. So, but yes, sir, I'd be happy to do anything to get it, because it's devastated our drug life. That's why our numbers are so low, because we've terminated people. Judge Ash has warned them and warned them and warned them that we consider this plain, that you're not taking your recovery serious, And I mean, after you tell them so many times and give them so many chances, and we do test for it. We can test for the synthetic
Cannabinoids.
THC and and the stimulants, both the bath salts and stuff. And we've only had one person that came back negative. Everybody else that we've tested has been positive, and they're dropping like flies because we're making them serve their sentence.
Well, that's what they should be doing. But one thing I wanted to point out, you were talking about the recidivism rate being at 20%, and which sounds really high, but if you look at recidivism for the jail and the workhouse, do you know the percent off the top of your head? I've heard it before,
Yeah,
don't recall.
I don't know
but
for the
it's-
workhouse. I think Mr. Solandi's around here somewhere. He might know. But I've always been told with the adult detention center, it's 80%. That's just a revolving door out there. So,
And it's
and
costing us about-
nationally,
right.
people that are just on probation and don't get any treatment, it's 67%. So, as far as I know, those figures haven't changed. They're pretty constant. Treatment is the answer.
Anybody have any more questions? All right, we got a motion and a second on the floor to send a resolution to the steering committee. Okay, is there any questions or comments on that? Motion is on the floor. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. It's unanimous.
Are you coming to steering?
If that's what you need me to do.
I'm on steering, and
Okay.
I'd like for you to be the, praise on steering. That way we can help explain this
When do you all meet?
Monday night,
Mhm.
the 5th.
at 5:30.
Oh, I was supposed to go to a party that night.
Well, I tell you what,
I guess I'll be a little late.
well, what time are you gonna be at the party?
It's supposed to be at 5:30. It's our president of our board is having the staff and the board
Oh.
over, so I can be a little late.
Put her on first on
Yeah,
the
if
agenda.
you show up and remind me, I'll say something to the chairman about if we can get you in there first, and that way you can get, that way you can kinda help
I
us,
know my brain.
because you'll have more
Well,
knowledge.
I'll look up that Michigan law too
But I
and
think
see
it's
if
Vicky
that
who's
helps
looking
any.
first on the agenda.
That's right.
Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Vicki.
I do the agenda
All right,
with Adam.
Okay,
that'll work.
okay. You want me to do that too, bring a copy of the law? from
Yeah,
Michigan?
that way,
Will
it'll-
help?
yeah, that'll help us.
Okay, okay.
All right.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for
And we need a motion to approve her report as
So
well.
moved.
A
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And juvenile detention report, and I think it's on the desk as well.
It is.
And
Good evening.
how you doing today?
Wonderful. As usual, I'll be happy to answer any questions. This is our October report. We are a well-oiled machine, so there's not much to report. I did want to mention that at the open house that we had, I had a gentleman approach me about picking up something that church used to do for us, that there was a lady named Mary Ann Scott that for Christmas used to do a special meal for the kids, and as she got older she wasn't able to do that anymore, and I had a gentleman step up and said that he and some of his friends would be more than happy to do that again and start that tradition back up. So we're happy to know that come Christmas for the kids that are in detention will have a special meal. So that's our exciting news for the month.
Well, I've got a question for your well-oiled machine. over
Ask
here.
it.
Recidivism rate, what is it?
I can tell you what it was when we had the last study done, and that was shortly before the building process. And I believe it was at about 25% then.
Thanks.
Sure.
Any more questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
We won't call in.
Sheriff Department report. How you doing?
I'm good. Just get everything all bundled together tonight, so.
Thank you, sir.
Goes down. There you go. All right. Okay. Item number one one will be some amendments here. Okay, when we did the amendment last month for the dogs, where we had the 24,000 was donated and we put it into the 399 account, it actually needs to be paid for out of the 319 special purpose account, which is the confidential account. So we're just needing to move that money one more time and then we'll spend it that way. So that's what the purpose for that amendment is. The next one, we're going to move out of the line item is 54,210,399, which is Dr. Rudd's line item where we get some state of Tennessee reimbursement money from. We're going to use some of that money to pay for rentals of all the storage space we're renting over at the building and then the NARC building, stuff like that.
All right, so money that we're getting from the state to reimburse us for the
Medical reimbursement.
medical reimbursement.
Yeah. So he bills the state of Tennessee for, like if we take somebody out to the hospital and stuff, and the state of Tennessee reimburses that, he gives us that money back. We put it in our line item to use for whatever we need to offset costs.
Okay.
So, because it comes back to us, we can't, it doesn't actually come to him. I mean, he bills it for it, but then the county gets the money back direct from the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that money's already that's already into that line item. That's where we normally deposit it because it's a medical
Right.
for the jail. That's where the money comes from. So we automatically put that money there. And then
So we don't have to use that money for medical purposes when it
No,
comes
it's not
back?
restricted. It's not
Okay.
restricted at all. And so it's extra money. So we're using it for other things within our budget. The next line item is.
Does that pay
Go ahead.
for the rentals?
Yeah, that'll pay for the rentals for the rest of the year. So we're good to go on that. Covers all those expenses. The next line item, the 44,570 in the donations line item, this is a total of the three items you see below. And those are to recognize all the donations for the memorial garden we have, the community garden, which is the big garden out front, Operation Integrity, and the Canine, and of course the Shop with the Sheriff program, which we had the other night. We had, matter of fact, several of the SROs and some of the officers showed up, and I think we collected a ton of money at Toots the other night. It was great. It was a really good turnout. The public really showed up and supported us, so we're very thankful for that. And so the bulk of that money is in 44,570. We're going to put it into these line items for those programs. And then the next one is coming out of 44,130, which is selling materials. And it's not like recycled materials or anything. That's totally different. This is for like memorial bricks and the coins that we're selling for the 9/11 memorial and the bricks for the 9/11 memorial. And that's mainly what this program's for. And so we're going to put those amounts into those two different accounts there.
All right.
About it.
Motion to approve the transfers.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second, discussion.
On your rent of narcotics, that's where you're storing evidence, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've got storage and you got horse barn. You mind breaking those three down for me on a yearly cost?
Off the top of my head, let's see, 33,000 and some change. I think it's 33 or 34,000 for the NARC building. And the horse barn is $200 a month. We have storage at the SMP building in front of us. And then we've also got the evidence storage as well. And I don't know those two number breakdowns. It ends up being this figure plus 33,600, I believe, totals up to 53,000, and that should cover everything for the year.
That'll cover all those
Yes, sir.
particulars, 53K a year
Yes,
for
sir.
all of them?
Uh-huh.
All right. Part of the reason I'm asking is, y'all been talking about needing, more storage space.
Yes, sir.
And I like to look at cost. That way
Oh,
we
yeah.
can see what it's gonna cost us versus maybe us building a building. So
Mhm.
that's what I wanna see. Thank you.
I'd agree.
Any other questions on the motions on the floor? Hearing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Phillips,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiffany Phillips.
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Farley.
Yes.
Okay. Next one is the sheriff's budget and the detention budget. No big surprises there so far. We seem to be doing okay with pretty much what we've got. If there's any questions, we're glad to entertain.
Any questions on his report? On the uniform line item, where's that at? I can't, I'm looking.
451.
451.
Yeah, those are pretty much, those have already been requested. Those are pretty much wiped out. And we may come back with a request for that next month.
Request for some more?
To move some money around within our budget to dump into those line items, yes.
So
But all that money right now is encumbered. It's not all spent, but we have open purchase order for the vendors. We have equipped a lot of the officers with the new uniforms. That's going very well. The dry cleaning's going well. All the uniforms, after they've been worn now for a couple of months, still look like they're brand new. So we're doing pretty good on that. So.
On the jail side with the maintenance building, is that gonna be enough to get you through the rest of the, I know y'all,
Yes, we think we'll be fine on that, yeah.
y'all done a lot of the big work already, I guess?
Yeah, we have maxed out every square inch of that facility. I mean, it's amazing. Every time you turn around, we're trying to come up with a new way to put another office in somewhere, so we just maximize the space. It's a miracle what James Bailey's done with that facility over there, with building out every square inch of it. We've done pretty good.
I was gonna say, in custodial supplies, I guess open purchase orders there too.
Yeah.
Kind of same thing,
Yes,
a lot of the.
It's all been
low-
encumbered, but not spent just yet.
speaking of space, then, the old lobby, I heard that, I haven't seen it, but y'all had done some remodeling over there?
Yes, sir.
What did y'all do over there?
Well, the magistrate's office has moved over to where the visitation lobby, where the visitation kiosk desk area used to be, where you would come in and register. So we made that one big office for all the magistrates, and then where you would sign in is now down towards where the elevators is. Used to be the old ladies' locker room for the gym. They still have a space, and they still have a locker room, and they have bathrooms, and that's all still there. But we've taken some of that space and made that the office area for where you sign in to visit people. And it's right next to the elevators, which is kind of convenient anyway. And then we've even, where the three columns were, where the podium would always sit when we do graduation for GED, all back behind that's now a big storage closet. We made that a big storage closet because we needed more storage space. And there's not much lobby left over there. It's gotten quite small. It used to be a big room, and it's not anymore.
Where's the visitors, when they come in to visit?
They still come in there, and there's still a little seating area where they can sit and wait for their turn until their appointed time. But,
So it's not causing any overcrowding or anything like that?
no, not at this moment.
Okay.
It has its moments. I mean, it gets pretty busy over there from time to time, but there's still enough space to accommodate right now. So.
What's the time frames on things like the kitchen?
Well, all that is going to start up pretty much hot and heavy next year. The kitchen will start being bid out if, depending on David Klein. I think they'll probably start bidding that hopefully in January. Of course, the dispatch system that's already said and done. So those orders have been placed. They're telling us probably that hopefully the installation of that will start sometime in March, is what we're hoping, and maybe finish up May, end of May. It's going to take a while to get all that in. They've still got to demo the whole space and then put all the new stuff in. So we're moving along so far. And I think the brick's still under construction, but it's almost finished. The brick remediation, that's going pretty good. I think they're on the back side that faces the interstate now. They're down to that part.
When will y'all find out if you're under budget, or will y'all know till it's over?
I guess wait till the bids come in on the. Well,
The
you talking about on the brick?
Yeah.
I would guess it's about done. That'll be done through May.
We're not even close to finishing that.
Okay.
Beg to differ with you.
Okay, that's fine.
And
Well, I just know that they're.
Commissioner Young is probably gonna require some additional
Well, that's,
changes that we haven't even yet completely identified, so it's a a work in progress, let's say right now.
You never know until you get into it.
It's one of those things that we don't really have a choice over whether we have to do it.
Yeah.
So,
They've been working on it every day, though. I tell you, they're on the side of that building, too. That's something else to watch.
Is there any more questions on the report? If there's none, I entertain a motion on the report. Motion to approve the report, is there a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Okay.
Anything
And of
else?
course, in your folder is just some more accommodation letters and things of that information for you guys to peruse at your convenience. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you for your time.
Oh, while you're here,
Yes.
it's number 10, we'll move down to number 10.
Mhm.
That's actually gonna be pulled off the agenda tonight.
Yes.
That's still a work in progress. So,
Is that the, blood
that's
alcohol?
about the blood alcohol.
Actually, we're not gonna have to pull it down completely. That's gonna be done completely separate. What we kind of discovered in the law is that Dr. Rudd can actually bill direct for that, which what the hospitals were going to do. So I think to just leave the county out of it completely and let him find a way to get some costs back and offset some of the increases he's seen, and we'll let him handle that.
Okay,
So we're just gonna drop that completely.
all right.
At least we found out it's legal if we want to do it, but the mechanics of actually getting the money into the county coffers and then back out is gonna be too much.
Okay,
Okay?
all right. Appreciate it.
All right.
OSHA report. I believe it's on your desk as well. How's it going?
Well, thank you. The report's pretty much straightforward this evening. In the month of October, we had 19 injuries requiring medical attention, and you see the breakdown there. For the year-to-date, that brings the total to 206 from January 1st to the end of October. Of that 206, 142 of them are OSHA recordable, with 69 of them having restriction days, 25 lost claim days, and 48 others. The next page shows you the breakdown for this year compared to 2 previous years.
How many total employees is that percentage figured on?
I'm sorry, what now?
How many total employees is that figured on?
Well, this graph is strictly on the claims. I mean, it's the number of claims.
Okay, that's your percentage there.
Yeah, it's when you look at this, if we report somebody 19 claims, and that's 19 claims for the month. Now, the county has approximately 5,800 employees, county Board of
That are
Education.
covered under this, so.
Under the workers' comp, yes, sir. Or
Board
yeah,
of Education and general.
Yes, sir.
5,800.
They're all the county is covered under this one program.
Trying to get an idea of what percentage.
Certainly, sir.
Thank you.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Why is it that you get a spike in January, and then it spikes going up to February, then it's a downhill all the way to July, just straight nosedive. Then it spikes up again in August when school starts back up. Then it starts again in September and October and November, and it starts into another nosedive.
Yes, sir. 75% of the county is with the Board of Education, and the Board of Education schedule will dictate a lot of how that goes. If you look at the summer months, the June, July timeframe, you'll notice that those are the lower months within the calendar year, and then when you get back in 1st of August, when school comes back in, it shoots straight up.
But why is January to February, why did it shoot straight back up?
Well, again, a lot of that comes into the weather that you have with the Board of Education. We don't salt all the county parking lots of all the Board of Education. I'm not saying that there's a lot of it to do with that, but there are some issues with the weather in the February month with cold weather and snow and things like that, the ice. Now, I haven't looked at it that closely for recently, so I can go back and follow up on that, check that. But a lot of it has to do with the Board of Education and what they're experiencing.
Again, it's somewhat just the nature of the animal of insurance and insurance. This particular year it spiked up. The other 2 years were down in February.
Is that right?
Been down some, yes.
So it's not consistent. I mean,
Yeah.
And then too, this year I think employees have been rather concerned about their health. If you have an injury in the past, some of them because of the economic situation has been, they've kind of let things go, not worried about making sure that they get treatment or something like this. Because of things are getting tight, Somebody gets hurt, they can't afford to be out of work, they need to be here. They want to make sure that they get looked at, make sure that any injuries that they have are treated and they're okay and they can continue to work. So I think that's why we're seeing a trend this year trending up. And as you look at the schedule, you can just see, seems like over the last, at least last year, everything is definitely a little bit up from where it has been.
Plus, you got in October, the Board of Education has a week-long fall break, and then they have another one sometime late March or April, depending how things fall. Which, that means you probably got 4,000 that are not around that week. That should help those.
One thing, of course, that this year in the month of June, July is when the Board of Education was doing all the waxing and everything. I reported earlier in the year that we've done, we had a very good result in targeting those injuries and was able to reduce those where in the past we've seen that. So that really pulls that target down. And of course, the Board of Education, those injuries were slip and fall.
Speaking of that, you were supposed to send out a note to the principals and stuff, and
I spoke to Ms. Paula Barnes, sir, and we've addressed that with her and worked
Okay.
through her with that, yes.
okay,
We did do that.
That's good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And she was going to speak to Mr. Gill also about that. So, you'll notice that for the 19 injuries, we've had a total incurred dollars of $32,600. The Board of Education, of the 19 injuries, you can see they had 11 of the injuries. They incurred a little over $11,500 for those 11 injuries. The County General had 8 for $21,000, and then the next page, as requested in the past, we broke those down for the 8 to where they are in the County General, and you'll notice that they're basically with planning, the Sheriff's Department, and the Correctional Work Center, as you see there.
Did you say planning?
Yeah, fix that one.
Planning.
Two
Yeah,
people.
well, planning gets involved with having individuals out looking at the stormwater. We've had a couple instances with the being out there looking at the creeks, kick bites, and things like that with the stormwater. And we've also had one where they've closed the roads and then they've opened the roads back up and picking up the closed road signs and the strain from that where we've had a strain on that. So picking up those heavy signs and putting them back in the truck and things like that. So
You said planning was doing that?
that's listed under the planning, the
Public Works.
Public Works, yes.
We don't have a category that says Public Works per se, but it's.
So the public works people out at the highway department,
No. This is strictly the ones over at the Goldstein building, the county engineers people.
I wasn't aware that they closed roads. I thought it was.
Well, well, they're out there. They have some signs that they put out on some of that. Maybe I misspoke as far as closing it, but they had signs that they put out.
I thought the highway department closed roads.
Yeah.
They do, but Eric may have been helping.
Is there
They work together. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I couldn't answer. I don't know why. I just know that there was some signs that were being picked up, and that's where one of the injuries. And then again, like I said, the other one was from the stormwater situation where they're out looking at the floodplain and the stormwaters.
Okay.
I'd be glad to.
I know about the job where they monitor the creeks and things.
Yes,
and
sir.
They're walking on slick, mossy rocks.
Yes, sir.
And I
Yes, sir.
can understand people getting hurt doing that. The only signs that planning puts out are the little, there's a zoning change sign that I'm aware of, and that's a little, I do that about once every 4 years when I'm out knocking on doors occasionally. So.
Well, I'll be glad to follow up on that other one and get back with you.
Just out of curiosity, right?
It just caught everybody's attention.
I understand. Well, and yes, sir, like I said, this year people tend to be a little bit more cautious because they can't afford to be out of work and they need to make sure that they're able to continue. I think that's why you see more people, again, reporting injuries and going to the doctors right now.
If they get hurt on the job, correct me if I'm wrong. If they get hurt on the job, how many days do they got to be out for it to be not county sick days?
Okay. We follow the same as the state workers' comp. If an individual gets hurt and doctor take them off work, the first 7 days is considered a waiting period. They don't get paid for the first 7
Right.
days. They can draw sick leave. On the 8th day to the 14th day, we pay 2/3 of their wage, which is on their gross wages. And again, that is according to the state. And after the 14th day, we go back and pick up from day one, and we pay 2/3 of the wages from then on.
And I must have understood it this, but how would they, if someone gets hurt and they want to make sure they get paid, how would they lose time or lose pay if they're in that 7 days and they would have sick days?
They would take their sick days if they, for some reason, like if somebody was only off for 3 days, and the program is not set up like the state is, and it's covered, then an employee would be able to take their sick days for those 3 days.
Right. So unless they're out of sick time, they would still get paid.
If they're out of sick time,
They
then
wouldn't get paid.
They wouldn't get paid because there's no sick time.
I said unless they're out of sick.
You are correct, yes. Now, of course, the other thing is, once they pass that, they get 2/3 of their wages, and then if they're out for longer than the 14 days, then we go
Right.
back and pick up all of that time, and they're made whole.
Okay.
Now, should an individual take sick days within the first 7 days, and then get paid for that too, you cannot get paid sick days and OGI pay at the same time, and then the payroll department comes back and recovers that sick time pay and it's
Right.
put back onto their record, and they have to pay that back.
I've got one question for
Yes,
you
sir.
with the fire department, since they're volunteers and I'm a volunteer.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't accrue sick time, so how does that work?
Okay. The only thing that we are covered for under the OGI program for them is their medical bills. So if you're out of work, I'm only, under the program, all I cover for volunteers are your medical bills.
Okay.
So any
Other
lost time is not covered under this program. That
Okay,
would
it's
be
covered under another
it may
program,
be-
yeah,
Well,
sure.
yes, it'd
Okay.
be under something else other than what I
Okay.
have.
Gotcha. And with the 2/3, paying 2/3 under the OJI, that's non-taxable, right?
That is correct.
So that's the same amount any county employee would be taking home, or close to it.
That's correct. A lot of people get concerned about that. If you're looking at a tax bracket, most employees fall into a 25% tax bracket. This is 2/3, so you're talking 33%, so that's a little bit less. However, you're not driving to and from work every day, and you're not paying for food and things like that because you're at home, so now you can take off a little bit more for that. And the program is set up for the state, and all this program follows, is to encourage individuals. You know, it's not quite enough, but it's enough to take care of, and then it's encouraging everybody to get back to work as soon as possible so that they can be back to their full earning capacity. So, and it's set up to try and prevent abuse in the program also.
They're still paying food. They still got to eat at home.
That's true. But a lot of people, if you come to work, you might eat out more and things like that.
I'm just messing with you.
Nah.
Well, thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Making everybody aware.
4 for $1.
And I do like to
What
make sure
question-
everybody's aware of this.
We'll ask you the same question 6 months from now.
No, but I like for everybody to be aware of this because a lot of people don't understand when they're out of work what happens. And when people are out, we take a few minutes and discuss this with the employees so to make sure they understand what their situation is.
Is there a waiting period if hospitalization is involved?
Ooh. Well, hospitalization follows along the same line, but it is somebody's hospitalized. Now, of course, surgeries and things like that, we have to go through pre-cert to make sure that all the
I'm
things are
talking about compensation. Isn't compensation?
Well, they get the same compensation as far as being out of work for
There's
that.
no waiting period, is what I'm saying.
It doesn't differentiate for the workers or the on-the-job injury program. It does for the health insurance. Because if you get that and you're hospitalized, then your deductible is waived if you're admitted to the hospital. But under the program, there's no waiving of that if somebody's admitted to the hospital. But usually if they're going to be admitted to the hospital, they're going to spend a few days. They're going to be out of work for a little bit of time. So, fortunately for us, I don't remember the last time we've had anybody admitted to the hospital. Well, it's been a couple of years since we've had one, come to think of it. So.
Anybody else on this report? Any questions? If none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ambulance service report. How's it going now? Doing good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Whenever you're ready.
We made 2,024 calls for the month of October. Response time average was 7.5 minutes.
That's, excuse me, that's what, almost 300 calls more than last year's time, right?
Yeah. But it's, recently it's been fairly steady, around 2,000. Had 26 coroner's calls, and we did 6 autopsies. We billed $1,191,277 and collected $522,331, which puts us on projected yearly collections of $6.2 million. We had $397,332 insurance write-offs and $289,399 in collection agency write-offs. And we didn't have any county discounts this month. The table at the bottom of the page is the operating costs for ambulances. We purchased 3 ambulances, and they'll be on here next month. But this is for October, so they don't show up on here. We made a total of 561 calls out of zone. And drove a total of 37,340 miles.
Curiosity question. Back up on your insurance write-offs and your collection agency write-offs. Well, you may not be able to tell it that quick, but if calls come in from the same address and it turns out they are non-payees, so to speak, do you keep going back and picking them up?
You can't afford not to.
Okay. Well, I knew the answer to that, too.
And we try to discourage that as much as we
Yeah.
can.
It's a liability thing.
Second page is in-services and training. And the RAC team was very busy. We also covered all of the high school football games and MTSU football games, several other things there. Next page is the number of runs broken down by ambulance stations. The following page is number of ambulance runs broken down by commissioner district, and also includes our transport team calls, critical calls. The following page is year to date, same information.
See, Commissioner Young's district's still running the top.
Always has.
Hey, it's getting bigger after you got the redistricting.
I think they all have.
Oh, no, mine's strong.
Well, not people-wise, but area-wise.
I'll have the hospital now. I won't get the transfers counted in mine, will I? Okay, good. It'll really spike then.
following page is just a matrix that shows where each ambulance responded to, the number of calls it responded to in its zone as well as into other zones. And that's kind of a beneficial planning tool right there. But you'll notice that Manchester, which is ambulance station 10, responds into MTSU zone on a regular basis. But that's where they stand by for calls going into both MTSU, Burton Street, and Saving Road.
With this layout right here, where would it tell you that your future station needs to be at, as far as response time and?
I think there's a number of factors that come in there, but you have to look at the number of calls ambulance stations are making. You know, obviously, Burton Street makes a lot of calls, but it's a relatively small zone. MTSU makes a lot of calls, and it's the biggest zone we have. So, at some point, we'll have to look at that.
But would this
well, I think it would, because if you look, for instance, at MTSU, they're zone number 4, and they made the majority of their calls inside their zone. But they also made calls into zone 2, which is Burton Street zone, and into zone 1, which is Salem Road zone.
Mm-hmm.
And they even made one into Christiana zone. So what we have is all those stations in the heart of town are so busy that they're out of their zone.
they're overlapping themselves out there from time to time?
Which zone out of these has had the most assistance from other zones?
Probably MTSU. MTSU, especially when school's in session there. And they have the biggest zone in the county, square mileage wise. So they probably require more help than us.
Yeah, because Manchester Station is spending 140, had 140 trips up into MTSU zone. You know, they had about as many trips into the MTSU zone that MTSU zone actually had in its own zone. Just a thought.
The rest of the papers there are thank you type notes.
Thank you for saving my life.
Anybody have any questions for Mike?
They saved their life.
Say there's 2 new ambulances that came aboard, 3. Would you retire 3?
We
Save them for backups or something?
pardon me?
Would you save them for backups or anything?
Well,
like that?
we've probably got enough backups, and the ones that have been backup will probably, I know we've had some requests from other public safety agencies to use them. And we'll get together with the mayor and figure out where they need to go.
Yeah, like the backups that are now will go in out of backup status, and they'll just kind of filter down.
3 frontline ambulances will become backup.
Any questions on Mike's report? If and when, just if somebody doesn't, entertain a motion whenever y'all are ready.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Mike. Next is Paul's report.
Thank you.
I want to think about, did a lady get hold of you that I told her to call you?
I don't know, sir.
Which one?
A honeycut lady?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did talk to her. You told us that you would just talk to her.
Days later.
Okay.
7 days later.
Can I get your work number? My Girl Scouts are, I do apologize. Oh, cool.
Whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir. For the month of October, we had 766 animals come through the shelter. Out of those, 33.5% of those came from the county jurisdictions, 8.9% came from the city of Laverne, 42.2% came from the city of Murfreesboro, and 15.4% came from the town of Smyrna. Out of those animals, 108 were adopted back out, 565 were euthanized, 50 were reclaimed by their owners, 6 died either in the shelter or on the trucks, and 39 animals had other outcome, such as relocation and those type things, transfers. So 768 animals left the shelter. Gave us an adoption reclaim percent of 20.6, and our euthanasia rate was 73.6.
On the other outcome, would that be if, say, someone lost an animal, or lost a dog or a cat, and then they come back in and they found it there?
That would be the reclaim part. The other outcome, typically most of those, as you see, are going to be the 38 of those 39 were the other animals. The state will allow us to release certain wildlife.
Okay.
Possums are one thing that we're able to release. That's where most of our other outcomes come from.
Okay.
We had 135 animals left in the shelter at the end of the month. 2,281 people visited the shelter looking for a lost or a new pet, and we had 2,375 logged calls or voicemails for the month. On the second page, you can see that we had 1,568 calls received, and we had 1,711 calls that were completed out. It's starting to drop off with the cold weather, so some of the calls that are low priorities are we're starting to get caught back up on. So that's why you're seeing the calls completed go up. You can see the breakdown there of the jurisdictions of the calls that we received. We had over 10,697 miles for the month. The third page shows fiscal year to date. We've had 3,558 animals come into the shelter. The breakdown is fairly close to the same for the jurisdictions, and we had 3,602 animals that went back out of the shelter with an adoption reclaim percentage of 19% and euthanasia rate of 71.9.
Michael, I think you must point out the difference in the dogs and cats. Adoption reclaim rate is really remarkable there.
It is. Cats,
getting out almost 45% of the dogs are being reclaimed or adopted, which is a really good number.
What we're having issues with is our cats, but what hurts us on our cats is the majority of our cats that come in are feral animals that can't be adopted back out. So that really hurts us on our cats. If you took our ferals out of our cat population, our cat adoption rate would be much better.
With a feral?
A wild cat, and you know, one that's not been, it's a domestic animal, but one that's not been tamed or had human contact.
What has helped us on the dogs as far as that number going up?
I wouldn't be able to say that. I don't guess I have enough of a basis there. We have a lot of folks coming in that are looking to adopt, which is a good thing. Our hours, I think, are pretty conducive for people wanting to come in, especially having hours on Saturdays, opening until 6 in the evenings. So I think we do a good job of making sure that when people are ready to adopt, they've got the hours and that they're convenient for them. I
mean, and the reason I asked is because at one point that it wasn't a good thing. Our numbers were low, and I'm wondering what we've done to change and make that number go up.
I think probably a lot of it, and I'm speaking just based on kind of looking from the outside in because I don't really have a good basis in the short time frame that I've been there. I think of a lot of it has to do with the facility. Where you all moved from Haley over to the facility on John Rice, you went into a much more modern facility that really pushed adoptions to where the other facility was more, just collecting stray animals, and it wasn't a very inviting facility. So I think people are starting to come out of that mindset and move into the mindset of, hey, we've got a nice facility, that's going to be the place that we're going to go look for an animal, to whereas they maybe didn't do that before.
I think not only that facility, but the animals that you have for adoption, you have nice descriptions of them and the type of breeds that they are, and a lot of their background information, especially if they're not puppies.
And going along with that, we have the computer system that was put into place in 2007, which allows us to do that, and that's part of that. So it takes a lot of the legwork out for us. It automatically posts on the internet when they're available and those type of things. So that ties in exactly with what you're saying as well.
A lot of that information is how they get along with kids and other people and other pets and house broken and all those kind of things really goes a long way.
Yes, sir.
Some like preventative or programs that you know entice people to come and adopt.
Well, they're able to look on the internet and say, well, this animal here kind of piques my interest, but then they get in there, they might see a completely different one, and those type things. They're able to kind of do their shopping at home before they get in there, which helps quite a bit.
How long has that been?
The computer program, that was put in 2007 was my understanding. We wouldn't know what to do if our computer system shut down. We'd be in a fix. Let's see, the third page there, we've had 5,694 calls received during the fiscal year and 5,804 calls that were closed out, and we traveled a little over 43,000 miles for the year. The last page of the report is the rabies exposure and bite report for the month. We had 28 reported bites. Out of those 28, 12 animals were sent for rabies testing, with 0 coming back as positive. And then we also had 2 other exposures with none of those being tested, of course no positives. For the year, you can see we had 376 total bites, 111 tested and 4 were positive, and 53 other exposures with 39 of those being tested and 2 positives. So no positives for the month of October.
Any questions on his report?
Motion to approve the report.
Got a motion, we have a second.
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Good job.
Thank you. Correctional Work Center report, and it's on your desk.
How y'all doing?
All right. Ask you, what's your recidivism rate?
Yeah, I'm hearing that. I was telling the gentleman outside, I believe it's about 75%, because that's about a nationwide average. With the programs going on with us, statewide and nationwide, it's, it used to be up to 85%, but it's getting better. Plus the system itself, the law enforcement system is doing a lot of alternatives instead of incarcerating, trying to put people into more programs, probation, work release, which we're about to start soon. So it's helping. It's really making a big difference.
Have you seen any difference between the folks that have got their GEDs out there?
Definitely.
Or recidivism, has that helped? I mean,
those individuals, I'll say that's probably down to 60% where they return. Because now they have something that they can hold on to and help them get employment, and plus, help their families. It makes them feel much better. You got to touch inside first before you do outside. So, GED programs really are good programs. Let's start with the yearly activity report. Average count in October was about 212. We've seen a dip in the census in the last month. Currently we're in 160s, but it spikes and goes down. So, it's a holiday season also, so that kind of affects that. Let's see, the average entered and released. Working crews staying steady, still going good.
Question. On the population of meals, is that the numbers that y'all are doing, including the sheriff department right now?
The population meals.
Where that's going? So this went from July to August, it jumped, what?
Couple of thousand, yes.
About 1,700?
Right, because we're probably preparing between 1,100, sometimes 1,200 meals. With our count being down, so now it's about, I'll say 1,100. So yes, it's increased significantly. And you see the programs, disciplinary reports. Went up a little bit. GED, the program, like I said, is doing very well. DUI, little pickups, this crew's been increased.
Back to your question, Chairman, Carly, those are our meals there.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, I mean, you see, we're at 18,000 in July.
Yeah.
It's just a small fluctuation in that population, our own population.
Right.
So that's
Peaks at night, that's just us, that has nothing to do with what we're doing for them.
okay.
Right, but we are preparing.
Right, I didn't know if that was, that number included
Oh,
that or
included
not.
that one.
Right. So they're actually doing a whole lot more
Probably
than.
3 times that,
Yeah.
or more than 3 times
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you add another 800-900 to what we normally do.
And that's per
Per meal.
meal, per,
That's for the month.
Well, this is for the month, right? But per meal, we're averaging about between 1,100, 1,000, 1,200 meals.
so- and that's 3 times a day,
Right.
and 30 days in a
Now,
month.
there's 2 hots and 1 cold.
Okay,
We're preparing all of their food in bulk,
right,
and they're transporting it over there and they're distributing out of their own facilities.
right. I guess my point is, it's about probably 4 or 5 more thousand meals,
On the monthly,
even than those numbers.
right? You figure
1,600 a day, hot,
30, yeah.
800.
How is the wear and tear on your stuff over there in the kitchen? Is it, I know it's gonna be a whole lot more
Yeah, well,
than what you projected with it just being the workhouse.
right. We're maintaining. We loaned a couple of equipment from Sheriff's Department, and we've used some of them. So that's helped out a lot. But long term, I'm sure at some point something's going to, have to be replaced. But right now, everything is holding up. We did it's one of the things we have discussed later in the amendment. Budget amendment, we're doing this too because of that. One of those reasons we're doing a lot of maintenance agreements to upkeep some of the appliances in food service programs. Next one would be the state litter pickup for October, reflects the numbers. Charge for that. And then the minutes for the last board meeting on November 7th. Biggest thing on there is the dishwasher has been installed, and as it stated here, there's a lease, $209.95 a month. That. And continue working on a accreditation process, doing a Christmas event for the inmates' kids. We identified inmates that are doing well in programs, GED and faith-based programs, trying to help them out that way. And the last page, we added a fee for emergency sick call visits to see the nurse. Those are normally they're scheduled, but if they deem all of a sudden they don't feel like going to work and saying they're sick, we'll let them know, okay, then you have to see medical to clear you for that. I kind of cuts down on that.
They want to lay around all day and have them sick.
Kind of give them some motivation. And
Got a question for you. One of your notes here is saying you're taking over the classifications process.
yes, we are.
And in other words, any prisoner that's deemed by the courts to do time as a misdemeanor, who is, I assume, more strict, a felon, you don't get.
Right, the system was set up as to, they go to court, they see the judge, they get sentenced to do X number of days as a misdemeanor. They'll be transferred to the sheriff's department and they classify them based on previous charges, behavior, if they had a felony, things like that nature before they were eligible to come to the correctional work center. The sheriff's department right now is utilizing those personnel that was doing that to do other things, so they reached out to us to see if we can take over the classification system. And I told them it wouldn't be a problem, just give us the access to certain jail management system, and we'll put it to work. So it hasn't started yet. We just believe this week we'll get access to their jail management system, and some other training needs to be done to my personnel. So we're probably projecting another week or so before we actually start doing it.
But is that streamline stuff more where instead of, and it lets their personnel do something and now you know exactly what you're getting into your
Exactly. Well,
facility?
we're getting the opposite. It gives us more, access to that, definitely.
That might cut down on your discipline reports and everything else.
Or add.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
That's what I had.
That glass door for the oven, you said it broke again. Have they found out the reason why? Is it we're not getting the right thing? Or
Right.
is it,
And that was under the maintenance agreement with a vendor, Hobart, and they explained to me that they've never seen one just break on its own. So but they were kind enough to just replace it and just charge us for the labor. So that worked out.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion on his report, if there's any other questions.
Motion to approve the report.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. I think you've got a budget amendment.
Yes. This one drawn up from, we are requesting to remove $4,500 from line 399, other contracted service, to a maintenance agreement, line 334. And this will be beneficial to obtain maintenance agreements covering repairs on various kitchen equipment, as I said earlier. Like I said, before, see, this will get us to the end of the fiscal year till June, so.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All right, discussion. This motion that's on the floor. Hearing or seeing none, call roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Pease?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Phillips?
Aye.
Commissioner Tiffany Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
And Commissioner Farley?
Yes. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, appreciate it. Next is County Fire Rescue.
Is that the best for last?
There's one in the emergency management jumping running.
They went from last to first.
Yeah. First page is my report, and November 19th and 20th, we were able to provide a firefighter survival class at the Kittle Training Facility that was sanctioned by the Fire Academy. It was a very successful class. We had about 31 signed up. It was very educational. It's a lot more advanced training than what they've received from just the basic fire. And then this coming Thursday night, it'll be Thursday, Friday, all day Saturday and Sunday will be a rapid intervention team class. And we've got 40-something members, firefighters signed up for this. This will give them the skills and capability to be able to go in and search and recover a downed firefighter, change out his air bottle, do whatever it takes to extract him from a building. Starting the first of the year, we're going to be able to provide some more Fire Academy classes, such as smoke divers, and one that I think was badly needed in the county is a pump operations class. It will actually be the week-long class that will teach them how to operate and do pumps and friction loss and stuff on their hoses.
If you would tell the committee how you're able to do this with.
Well, I had a young man that is an instructor from Tennessee Fire Academy come and wanted to join our fire department, and he's pretty excited about what we're doing here in the county. And because he works for the Tennessee Fire Academy, we can teach any class inside the county that they teach at the Fire Academy, except for I pay a one-time fee of $180, and we can teach as many firefighters as we want to. Just like this RIT class here, it costs $140 per firefighter. But if you were to send 25 firefighters, you're looking, several $1,000s. But through this program we've set up with,
we can teach this class instead of $143 or $145 per firefighter, we can teach it for a one-time fee of $180.
So we're actually saving.
Saving lots of money on training and providing them with a lot more advanced training than we normally be able to get. Plus, I pay for that out of my budget, so it doesn't cost any volunteer fire department anything. And we've really been utilizing the Kidwell training facility. So I'm pretty excited about the type of training we're offering. We also have contacted all the other volunteer fire departments and invited them to this training. These classes had several firefighters from other the volunteer fire departments. We have also contacted them, and the ones who don't have a good training program, we've invited them to come to our station on Thursday night, where they will receive advanced training and that they can receive fire training where they are provided at their station or not. So a lot of good things as far as the training capabilities in the county fire service.
Man, I can't tell you how pleased I am to hear that. I know what it costs me to go through the fire school, and you know, you got to take your vacation time to do it, to work during that, and I mean, you work, you know, taking those basic things, and then having to pay for them out of your pocket on top of that. People don't appreciate what these volunteers are doing for them here in the county, besides the money that they're saving us from having to have a professional department. It's just, you know, this is amazing, and it's wonderful training you're giving. Thank you.
The one thing that I'm excited about is Laverne Fire Department, which is a paid department, has been sending firefighters through our rookie school, and they've been sending some of their guys to this advanced training. So I basically have opened up to any firefighter in Rutherford County. And as a matter of fact, they even had Murfreesboro Fire Department request this morning if when we do a smoke divers class, if they could put one of their guys through it. I said, sure. I mean, because we were all county firefighters. Well, I look at it, and it's making us all better. And Commissioner Young will probably attest to the fact that we had a structure fire this morning, and I'm very pleased with the way that the whole county fire system is coming together and everybody's working good together.
I was going to say something about that, about the response. For, you know, used to, when I first started 12 years ago as a volunteer in the county, the response during the daytime was nothing. You might get 2 people on the truck, and that's all you got to fight the fire and load the hose back up and leave. And I know Mr. Peake's probably been in that same boat, but we had 20-something people out there today during the day, and that's pretty impressive in a timely response at that.
And there are times that there are some fire departments still have struggle in the daytime, and we're fortunate today, and we may have one tomorrow, maybe about 2 people show up. You know, we've been very fortunate here lately.
I'll say this, and going all over the state of Tennessee, you know, there's a lot of these counties that have had people that their departments have opted out of the training bill that was passed years ago. They don't want their firefighters training. But Rutherford County has stepped up to the plate, and as I know the volunteers, when this thing first started, one of the biggest things they wanted was training, and we've got a good trained bunch of good firefighters in this county, and that the citizens of this county ought to be very proud of.
Well, one thing that I'm pleased about is, you know, the county does give them county funds, but by the budget that y'all funnel through me, it allows me to provide that training at no cost to them, so they can buy the other essential things that they have to have.
Well, that's something that, you know, being a fire chief and former fire chief and working on a budget and seeing what we used to get. Thanks to Mayor Burgess, we've written in public safety, the money has really come in for these fire departments, and where it used to 10 years ago, the emphasis was the volunteer fire departments had to do fundraisers just to keep the doors open instead of training. Now that the county's actually providing them with the money to operate their department, now they can focus on training instead of fundraising, which is something that we did as a commission to help them. Instead, like I said, instead of them out there having to struggle doing a fundraiser, now they can focus on training. So that's kind of helped out.
It's just another avenue we're providing, helping them. Next page is actually
one thing that fired at the structure fire today. Was that a county employee?
Jerry Boggs was his name. I don't know if he was or not.
He is.
It was a mobile home, and they actually got there in a timely fashion and done a good knockdown on it. And but it's a mobile home, and once it breaches the roof of the mobile home, it's pretty much shot. But I mean, our guys, I was very pleased that the tremendous job our guys did when they got on the scene today.
Where was it at?
On Buckeye Bottom Road. The next page is the MVA reports. Back had to put it on 2 pages this time because of so many. We had 51 motor vehicle calls. Average response time was 7.4 minutes.
Man, that's fantastic.
And based on the reports I looked at, I didn't see any fatalities, which is very encouraging.
And there was, I got a fatality up in,
We have on the top.
yeah, Central Valley Road.
Yeah. That's right, I forgot about that.
What was the average response time before we implemented the rescues?
Anywhere from 15 to 17 minutes.
So we cut it over in half.
We cut it into 4 regions. And I've been talking with Walter Fire Department. They're very, they want to get back in the program. So we're working to try to make sure that they have all their equipment, which will split it back in 5 districts, which will considerably have the response time out 11 Highway 231, because when you split that area between 17, which is Kittrell and Allenville, it takes quite a bit of time to get that distance. So that'll put that back in play.
They bought a used rescue truck, and it looks like one of the rescues we got at the city. It's top notch. I mean, pretty impressive.
But I also explained to him by coming back on, because of when we did our budget, that I would not be able to provide his fuel or his maintenance on that, because they dropped out before we did the budget last year, so we didn't plan for that. And because with 51 calls, that's why, you know, the diesel's gone up, and it's
Right.
my diesel budget's pretty tight.
You want to talk about and if you are, I apologize for jumping, about the new rescue that you just looked at?
Oh, it was in the report there. We traveled to Corbin, Kentucky Monday, and the new truck that the county has purchased is going to Allenville, which they run most of all a lot of calls, the biggest call volume. This should be ready in Rutherford County next week. So we're fixing to put the tools out for bid, which will be the 7th. So hopefully by the first year that truck will be in service. It's a very, very nice truck too, very impressive. Next page is our training hours and water report.
On your mutual aid run, Larry, are those the trucks that are running rescue? Are they counting those as mutual aid calls, or you said you got them zoned into 4 districts?
Well, like if Kittrell runs a rescue call
over in the Last Cass's,
that's their
district.
That's
still their district.
It's their district.
Okay, that's what I was wanting to know.
They count it as a rescue call, and then Last Cass's would count that as a MVA fire run for fire coverage, but Kittrell gets to count that as an MVA run for them.
So that'd be like, is that under other calls on here, or no? It's MVA. I see
It's
it.
MVA.
All right, thank you.
Is all of our departments, are they doing the TFRs now?
It's required by state law. As far as I know, there's one department that's still lacking. But me and the mayor met with them, and they assured us that their water report would be on time. And I told them I would explain to y'all that they are doing a lot better, and they're trying to get on track.
Yeah, I was fixing to make note of it. They didn't have any asterisks beside their name this time.
Yeah, we met with them, and they had some issues that they worked out, and I told them that I would advise y'all that they have gotten straightened out.
It looks like it. I'm glad to see that.
When you see them, tell them thank you.
Then the last sheet is the structure fires that reported to the county codes department from October.
Is there any questions on the report?
Motion to approve the report.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, 10's gone, we pulled it. Number 11, discuss December meeting. I know December the 26th is our next meeting, but that's a holiday, and we need to schedule the December meeting. And does anybody have a calendar?
Yeah, we're getting there.
This is the Wednesday before is the 21st. That Thursday's the 22nd. Let's see, so it'd be.
But the Wednesday.
Makes the 22nd, property management. I think that's
Yeah.
their regular schedule
Yeah.
night.
What about the 19th? Is that Health and Ed?
The third Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it? Well, then why not the
Third Monday.
27th then? If Health and Ed's already through.
The 27th?
Yeah, it's a Tuesday after our normal day would be Monday, right?
That's a day that Health and Ed was scheduled to meet, and they moved it from that week because it's a big holiday week.
It's a holiday?
It's a holiday week.
A holiday week?
Where a lot of people are out of town.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
The next day, the 28th.
But it's still a
It's still a
holiday
holiday
week.
week.
Is what they're saying.
But it's available if you
Well,
have
shoot.
That whole week is a week that a lot of people, when they do travel.
Here pretty soon. Well, you got 365 days a year worth of holiday. So
It might be best if we done it before that week.
Okay.
On the 21st.
Is that a Wednesday?
About the what?
That's a Wednesday, yeah. Is that the only date available that week?
How about the 20th at 5:30?
I can't do the 20th.
That's when Health and Ed
Yeah.
moved theirs.
Oh,
to-
they
Those
did.
was the 19th. No, that's something else. Isn't it?
Nothing's on the 19th normally.
But they moved theirs, Health and Ed moved theirs.
To the 20th.
To the 20th on Tuesday.
What about next week?
What about the 19th?
The 19th would be available. That's the week after
Commission,
commission.
so it'd work.
We don't have any.
Well, that's a holiday month.
The 19th sounds good to me.
That
The
works good.
19th.
Yeah, it's not a holiday week.
Let
Okay.
me look at something here on mine.
We only get a week for Christmas.
Thank goodness for blackberries.
I'm telling you, I live with this thing now.
So we're going with the 19th?
Just because you retired don't mean you ain't busy. That's what they don't
Oh,
realize.
19th's good with me.
All right.
What day is that on?
Monday. So basically just moving it up a week, right?
Basically.
It'll be the Monday after our commission meeting on the 15th as well.
Yeah.
And then you get your holiday week off.
A lot of people travel.
Yes, they do.
All right. Let's see, we got that settled. Is there any other business come before the committee tonight? There's some, I guess, students from Leadership Rutherford. Appreciate y'all coming. Hopefully it didn't bore you too bad tonight. And I think y'all may need some cards signed. All right. Appreciate you staying for the entire meeting. With that, we'll stand adjourned. Thank y'all.